We are live.
Here.
Frances Bailey, founder of Red Door Empowerment and CEO of Frances Bailey Enterprises, and author. We are so
Yes.
excited. Best-selling author, mind you, not just author, y'all. Best-selling. We are so excited to have you on this episode of Midweek Motivation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes. So let's hop straight into this interview, shall we? So what made you want to become a life coach and empowerment coach?
Well, I went through several things in life. I went through different obstacles and stumbling blocks, and it was points in my life where I felt that there was no hope. So when I overcame those things, I now want to go back and save others. I know I can't save everybody, but I want to save who I can save. So I answered the call to become a life coach. So I'm certified. I'm a certified life coach, empowerment coach, and life recovery coach in those three areas. So I go and I help those to break free from addictions and start their life over, and just help those reach their goals, and and then teach them to how to pull that inner power that's out on the inside of them to reach all the goals that they want to, and to not settle for where they're at, and that there is a future for them. So I was like, I gotta it's time for me to get to work after I was set free. So that's what made me want to become a life coach.
That's so awesome. You're giving from your heart of where you've come from. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And so, what are three of the top moments from your career to date?
Believe it or not, one of my first top moments was getting my 501c3.
Yes.
And I say that because getting that 501c3 was a humbling experience, because it showed me two things: that I didn't know it all, and it was okay to not know it all.
Yes.
I had to actually hire a professional to help me to, form my nonprofit organization. So it really showed me, because I was like, I got to do this on my own. I can do this on my own. I don't need help. But like I said, it humbled me to see that I did not know it all, and it was okay not to know it all. And the second thing was my Frances Bailey Enterprises being birthed right after Red Door Empowerment. Like, I had no idea. I was like, Lord, you want me to do this? And then he says, but now I want you to start this, and I want you to sell books. And I'm like, what? I thought it was just a nonprofit, but I was pregnant again. I was pregnant with twins, and I gave birth again to Frances Bailey Enterprises. And the third thing was becoming a best-selling author. I wrote this vision down over a year ago, and God directed my paths and connected me with people. And shout out to Tamara Mitchell Davis, who is the visionary author that took me on this journey. And I'm now a best-selling author. So there were three highlights in my career that I'm thankful for.
Awesome highlights. All the things you birthed to this point.
Yes.
And so how do you feel your organizations have grown in impact from when they first started?
They are growing tremendously. They're growing day by day. I remember when Red Door Empowerment was I just grabbed a group of people and we did a walk against drug driving. That was about 4 years ago. That's all we did. I did not know why God gave me that name. I didn't know why he was telling me to do this walk. But eventually, 5 years later, I have a nonprofit organization. And Frances Bailey Enterprises, it started off with just one-on-one coaching. And I was kind of like pleased with that. But then more was pulled out of me. Now we have monthly coaching. We now have guides that help guide people. We also do sell books, sell different products. So it's really growing day by day. And I'm thankful for the mentors that I have that guide me and show me to help my business keep gaining visibility, credibility. They're showing me how to leverage things within my business so that it can grow. And that's what it's doing.
Growing and taking off.
Yes.
So what advice do you have to give to those who are doing the work and becoming life coaches or life recovery coaches who would like to be at that point?
I would tell them to remember one thing. As a coach, the person that you're coaching, you want them to be a reflection of who you are.
Hmm.
Not saying that you want them to just do everything like you, walk like you, talk like you,
Right.
drink like you, eat like you, but you want them to overcome obstacles like you did. You
Hmm.
want them to be set free from, if you're a life recovery, you want to be set free from addiction like you was. If you're a healing coach, you want them healed from a obstacle, from trauma like you were. So you want to be, you have to remember that who you're coaching has to be a reflection of you. And you want to be transparent and relatable. That's another thing. I'm just a firm believer that you just can't preach and teach what you haven't been through.
Yeah.
And having that personal, when you start coaching these, it brings intimacy. When you start coaching your clients, and when you're transparent and relatable, you can pull stuff out of them that they probably wasn't talk about, that you can help them overcome. You help them to dig a little deeper. So if someone's looking to become a life coach, I was just remember those things. Is just make sure you're transparent and make sure you're relatable.
And so, also, in starting a nonprofit, what advice would you give someone who's seeking to have their own 501c3?
I would say, if you don't know it, I would just say, if you don't know how to form it, it's okay to stay in your lane. Hire someone. I stayed in my lane. That was not my lane. Doing the legal paperwork and all of that. I'm not an attorney. I hired a professional.
Yeah.
And I would also say to write it out, write your goal out, write your vision out, and hook up, network. You cannot be afraid to talk to people, because it's people who know what you don't know.
Right.
Networking is one key of being successful. And so that's what I would say. Just network, step outside of your comfort zone, write your goals down, and if you have to, hire a professional
Yeah.
to get the job done.
There we go. And so, tell us a little bit about your book and the process, the journey of writing it.
Oh, my book. I knew I had something I wanted to say. I wanted to write. I wanted to help another overcome. And I went to an author summit, and I connected with a lady there that I never thought that I would connect with again. I just wanted to follow her to just learn how to become an author. And along that journey, she was launching a book project, and I decided to join. And at first I was nervous, like, what am I going to say when I publish this book? Who is going to, have things to say? Should I say this yet? Should I wait and put this in my own book? But it was perfect. I obeyed, and I wrote my story, and here it is. It was about letting go what I was holding in, and doing this book project. It freed me a whole lot. Writing my story. Some parts that I thought that I had already broke loose from, it actually really freed me.
Wow, that's an amazing, amazing process. So, what would you tell yourself if you could go back and talk to yourself at the beginning of your career?
Oh, you know what? I don't even think I would tell myself anything. I think I would ask myself a question.
Okay.
I would say, aren't you glad that you trusted God?
Yeah.
Aren't you glad that you did it, that you did your part? And, aren't you glad that, you did it scared?
Yeah.
There are like three things, I'm so grateful that I trusted God, and I trusted the process, because going into business is like walking blind. You have no idea where it's going to go.
Right.
You can write a business plan, but they're subject to change.
Yeah.
And mine's dead.
Yeah.
So and then you have to do your part. You can trust God, but you still have to step out and do what you have to do. You have to put your hands to it. You have to, like I said, network. You have to do the paperwork. You have to hire someone. You have to do whatever, but you have to do your part to get to the next level.
Sure.
And the last thing was, I was scared, but I didn't let fear stop me. I did it scared. So that were those three questions I would ask myself. Ain't I glad that I did those three things? Even fearful, even not knowing, I still did it. And I'm glad that I did.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so, how has the coronavirus affected your nonprofit and your business?
Well, my nonprofit, we have support groups that are in it. We wanted to do workshops for different individuals, women in the community. But since the coronavirus happened, of course, with the limitations of everyone gathering, and now since, you know, the orders have been lifted, we still have some that are afraid, and I don't blame them, you know. So we can't have those large gatherings. Maybe not a lot of people would show up. So now we're leaning more toward the virtual side. I believe that all things work out for your good. And it did work out for my good, because it's also teaching me now how to become savvy on different other platforms, StreamYard, Zoom, all those other different things. Is teaching me how to go virtual instead of being face-to-face. For my coaching business, a lot of my clients, they lost the hands-on part of my coaching sessions. A lot of my clients, I would meet face-to-face and I would actually give them hands-on. But we lost that with the coronavirus happening. Also, as you know, my book published, and the coronavirus actually held the delay in our shipping. So we had our pre-sales in April. The book was here end of May, and we're still waiting for our books to, you know, for the distributor to release our books. But like I said, it all works for your good, because now everyone who purchases a book is going to receive something special in their book for just waiting so patiently because of this pandemic. But it has affected it, but in a way, in the long term, I believe that it happened for the good.
That's awesome. And so you've been able to turn that around and really see make lemons out of lemonade. And so how has the pandemic and coronavirus affected you personally?
Well, me personally,
and how have you been
locked down? Yeah, just being home. I like to connect and just hug others and things of that nature, and it's certain limitations on that now. So it just has affected the loving side of me, and the so-called networking side of me, you know, seeing physically my clients, or like my intern student that I have now, you know, we have that barrier in between us.
Right. Yeah, no, that has definitely been a way that has affected all of us, is our community is farther apart from us than we normally would like to have. And so, unfortunately, we have reached the end of this week's episode of Midweek Motivation. But before we come to a close, what words of encouragement would you like to leave our audience with on this week's episode of the Black Motivation Broadcast?
I am a purpose-filled chick, so I always leave everyone with this one thing, that whatever you're facing isn't greater than God's purpose in your life. So in turn, keep your purpose filled and keep going, keep striving.
Yes, thank you so much. And how can we find and support you on social media?
You can find me, Fran Ann Bailey, on Facebook, my website, www.francesannbailey.com. You can email info@francesannbailey.com.
All right. Well, you guys heard it here. These are the ways that you can support and get involved in what Frances Bailey is doing, and you can find her where you can find her book. So this has been another episode of the Midweek Motivation. Thank you so much, Frances, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
For sure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we are out, y'all.
Bye.